volume, but can everyone hear me?
Gotcha.
Okay.
Yep.
Hey, Tom.
Good evening. Everyone hear me?
Gotcha.
Okay.
Yep.
The Mentor Exempted Village Board of Education Special Education Budget Hearing for Monday, August 31st, 2020 is called to order. This meeting is being held in accordance with Section 3313.15 of the Ohio Revised Code. Mr. Wilson, please call the roll.
Mrs. Briner,
Here.
Mr. Buckley,
Here.
Mrs. Hassan,
Here.
Ms. Jisling,
Present.
Mr. Tuttle.
Here.
Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. This meeting is being video conferenced live and can be accessed at youtube.com/user Cardinal TV Mentor Ohio. Any of the viewing public that have questions, you may email them to webmaster@mentorschools.org. Next on the agenda is reports of the Director of Student Services.
I will step in for the director and offer a report. This hearing is a requirement of the federal government to allow us to receive federal funding for various programs. We are to present the proposed budgets for this year, which we have distributed and also posted on our website. And I can quickly summarize by saying the regular budgetary categories and intended uses are similar to what they have been in the past years. Federal funds are restricted to certain groups of students that qualify for additional support and funding, and we respect those. This year, there is one new fund that's related to the federal government's funding of COVID-19 related expenditures. We have allocated those funds for safety supplies and materials for the school district. Again, the budgets are available on our website and available in the offices. And at this time, we can open the hearing up to any questions or comments from board members, and then allow anyone in the community that does email a question in an opportunity to do so, and we will respond to that question the best we can.
Hey, Dan, I have a question. I don't have the sheets with me. I read through them. What is the total amount of money we're getting on this IDEA allotment allocation? Total.
Yes, the IDEA are individuals with disability challenges, and let me pull out that sheet here. Here we go. This year, our allocation is $1,722,567.53. And again, it's similar to last year's allocation. The funding's adjusted based on the number of students that qualify for funding under this program. And that number has gradually grown over time, but not dramatically changed in any one year.
So then, Dan, the allocation we receive is based on just the number of students we have as compared to other schools that have students that also economically based upon allocation, included in that allocation.
Well,
In other
they,
words,
I-
per students, what do we get compared to, say, Cleveland, Akron, Willoughby, South?
the amount of funding per student is the same, whether it's an urban district, a rural district, or a suburban district like ours. It's basically a per pupil funding amount. And the economic disadvantaged student programs are under a separate federal program, but once again, that funding is determined by the number of students that are resident students of the district that meet the qualifications of that program. So while the gross dollar amount will be different, urban districts tend to have higher concentration of students who qualify for the various federal programs. The value per student or the funding per student is the same for every school district in the nation.
So then, Dan, the funding, the state of Ohio wants to increase the students with disabilities from 22 years of age eligibility stops to 25. Will then we expect that that total number will grow based upon the number of students that now qualify for it to age 25?
That's correct. And I'll just add to what you said. The Ohio Department of Education administers the federal funding on behalf of the federal government, but it's really a federal guidelines and federal requirements that are determined at the federal level by the Department of Education with the allocation of funds going through Congress. So to the extent that the eligible age to be recognized for per pupil funding increases, that would then keep some students eligible for funding where they normally would age out and will result in more money for us.
And that's reasonable. Now, how about the state of Ohio's portion of that? That should go up by having more students, correct?
The state of Ohio only provides some administrative expense to the Ohio Department of Education to be their fiscal agent. There's no direct funding for services that flow through the state of Ohio or the Ohio Department of Education.
So tell me, is that the full budget that we're looking at for the class, or is there monies in which our property owners pay real estate taxes to fund that?
Yes, we have, there's two sets of requirements. One is to identify learning challenges for students, and then we're federally mandated to provide resources to help students overcome those limitations or challenges they have. And the federal government has agreed, recognizing that the guidelines originate out of the federal government, that they will provide partial funding. They do not provide full funding. In fact, it's a small portion of what we spend for, in this case, for students identified with special needs. The primary responsibility and the bulk of the funding does go to the local school district to fund out of both local tax revenues and our basic state subsidy, the state foundation program.
So that sounds to me like there's an unfunded portion if the state increases it from 22 to 25.
Absolutely. Correct? And I will share, not that I want to date myself necessarily, but many of these federal programs came into being shortly after I started my career as a treasurer in the mid 1970s. And the initial funding target for particularly students with special needs was 50% of the cost. The government has never come close to that. The reality is it's somewhere between 10 and 20% of the cost.
Oh, thank you. Well, that's wonderful. I would like to thank our politicians for that, for the most needy of our students. Wonderful are they ever so.
So the bottom line is the federal government provides X amount of dollars, the same amount of dollars for every child who has a disability. And then the local system has to pick up what the disability demands through the IEP. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Well said, Mr. Buckley. That's right on.
And is there a total for what we are spending? Well, let's say last school year, what was our total for special education services for our
Yes.
students?
One moment, please. I ought to be able to pull that out. I should have anticipated that, but let me find it here.
Dan, while you are searching for that, I'm going to interrupt. I want to let you know that as of right now, this is live, but unfortunately it's on Mike Lynch's YouTube channel and not Cardinal TV. And so what we're going to do is we are going to, as soon as this meeting is over, we are recording it. I'm going to upload it to Cardinal TV. And my suggestion would be that we take questions during our 5:45 meeting in case any come in. So we'll still have that opportunity for the public. If there are questions, it will actually give them a little bit more time. So as soon as this meeting is done, I'm going to take a couple of minutes to get that uploaded to Cardinal TV. People can watch it, and if they do have questions, they can submit through the webmaster then and answer it at the end of our 5:45 meeting. Does that sound like an okay plan?
Unfortunately, no, that the questions and answers have to occur during this budget hearing. To be
Okay,
in
so
compliance
can
with
we,
federal regulation.
can we not adjourn the meeting? Take
Correct.
the recording, and then we will adjourn the meeting at the start of the next meeting. Does that sound okay?
Correct. I think we do not adjourn the meeting, give you time to do what you need to do. And even if we start the special meeting later than 5:45 to ensure that the public has an opportunity to ask questions and receive an answer during the official hearing.
Okay.
So that would be fine. In response, last year, we spent $16,273,000 on students with special needs. And again, you'll recall, I just read you the number that we received.
Yeah.
In addition to that, that was our general fund spending, the $1,722,000. So not even about 10% of the total cost was funded by the federal government.
That's awful.
So
Is-
if that bill that's being proposed would extend services, that's a significant increase in the
Oh,
budget.
Yes, in theory, there would be an increase in the per pupil funding in general, but specifically those students that would age out and no longer qualify for us to receive any funding would remain. But as you can see, only talking from a fiscal standpoint, not services to children, that's bad business. 90% of the cost to continue to provide services falls on us as the local school district. So just from a budgetary viewpoint, that's a very challenging proposition. To the extent we can help those students with needs to be as successful and productive in society as possible, that's a very good thing.
How
Yes.
would that impact the services that Deepwood provides, for example, or how that would overlap with their programs?
Well, Ken mentioned an IEP. It's an individualized educational program. We make a determination on a student-by-student basis out of student services that they have a team of professional educators that determine the best service provider for the specific needs for each individual student, and each one is unique. So whether we rely on Deepwood or Applewood
Hold on 1 second.
or some other agency to do it rather than doing it internally
What's up?
is a
So what I think I'm going to do,
decision specific to each individual student.
Gotcha. So it's a complex situation, to be sure.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you.
And Kristen, do you know, have we received any questions?
Hi, so we have not received any questions, but we're also not streaming the meeting on Cardinal TV, YouTube.
Oh,
or anything like
thank
that.
you.
So I don't know that people would know to ask questions yet.
Okay.
So Kristen and I, we cannot adjourn this meeting. We will upload this video and get it on the Cardinal TV. And then if maybe we pause and wait until 5:55 to start our next meeting, that would give people the chance to watch the meeting and submit questions.
If we could, once you know that we're live for everyone to access, if you could let us know that so we can announce that to whoever's viewing, that we're giving them a few minutes to view the recording, but they also, whether they came prepared with questions in advance or not, they can submit those. So
That would be fine. So I just need to stop this video recording and then stop the YouTube stream so that we can pull all that together and get it up on the Cardinal TV. So if we want, you guys can all stay on the video.
One question.
But I think we need to end the recording and end the YouTube first.
Could I ask one
Unless
last
there's
question?
any other questions from board members?
One more question. How many students are in this program
In which program?
today that we're spending $16.2 million on?
In the special ed program enrollment?
Total across the district? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, in Mentor Public Schools.
For Mentor Public Schools right now, we have give or take about 1,000 kids. So it's about 12.19% of our active students.
Thank you.
Sure.
Okay, seeing no other questions, then I'm going to stop the recording.